What if the most dependable mass market car brand in America right now is one you have never seriously considered buying? Not Toyota, not Honda, not Subaru. According to J.D. Power's 2026 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study, the brand that just beat all of them is Buick. Buick scored 160 problems per 100 vehicles, finishing second overall in the entire study behind only Lexus at 151 and sitting dramatically clear of the industry average of 204. This is not a one-year anomaly. Buick finished fourth in 2023, third in 2024, and first among mass-market brands in 2026. That is a real upward trend, built over 3 consecutive years of data, not a fluke that disappears next time the numbers are run. And almost nobody is talking about it. That disconnect between what the data says and what buyers believe is exactly what this video is about. Because Buick's story in 2026 is genuinely 2 stories running at the same time. One is a brand that has quietly engineered its way to the top of the dependability chart, while the automotive press keeps writing the same grandpa's car headlines. The other is a brand that spent years earning that reputation through specific model years that were genuinely rough. And those rough years deserve to be on the record too. 7 Buick models and years that prove the stigma is outdated. 7 that explain exactly where it came from in the first place. Before the worst list, hit subscribe and turn on notifications if you want the next one, because this channel runs J.D. Power and Consumer Reports numbers every time a major study drops. And the next video covers the brands that finished at the very bottom of the same 2026 dependability study. The brand's newest, most technologically ambitious model is also its current weak point, which is not the outcome anyone at General Motors intended. Owners have reported significant transmission issues, including cases that required full replacement rather than repair. The large 30-inch cabin display screen, one of the redesign's headline features, has been reported going completely blank. The Enclave lost its Consumer Reports recommended rating shortly after the redesigned generation launched. A brand that just won a J.D. Power dependability crown should not be leading with a flagship that cannot hold onto a recommendation badge. The lesson here is the same one that shows up across this entire channel. The newest model year of any nameplate carries more risk than the version that has had time to be sorted out. That debut model year brought turbocharger failures averaging around $1,600 to replace engine stalling, power loss, frequent battery drain, electrical system malfunctions, and airbag and seatbelt safety recalls layered on top of all of it. Debut model years of any vehicle carry inherent risk, and the 2013 Encore delivered on that risk in almost every category simultaneously. The 2014 Encore did not recover cleanly from the problems its predecessor introduced. Battery failures and electrical system malfunctions carried over from the prior year. Engine performance remained inconsistent, and sensor and electrical component failures continued showing up in owner reports. 2 consecutive rough years at the start of a nameplate's life is exactly how a brand reputation gets set in concrete. And the early Encore years did real damage that took Buick most of the decade to undo. Transmission failure complaints came with an average repair cost of $3,900. Timing chain failures compounded the transmission problems, and engine stalling, plus failure to start complaints, rounded out a picture of a vehicle that was not ready for what its price tag was promising. The LaCrosse nameplate shows up again later on this list, and the contrast between what the 2010 version delivered and what the 2016 and 2017 versions became is one of the clearest examples of Buick's actual engineering trajectory. The Verano was a legitimate attempt to bring Buick into the entry-level luxury compact segment, and later production years delivered on that intent. The early years did not, and they belong on the caution list for anyone shopping a used Verano today. A hesitant, indecisive transmission behavior showed up in owner reports, notably in the 2019 model year, and overall reliability landed below the Encore, Verano, and Regal siblings it shared a showroom with. The Cascada was a commercial disappointment and a reliability one, and its discontinuation removed a genuine weak point from the lineup. Which tracked as the weakest year of that nameplate at 68 out of 100, with issues concentrated in the engine. Put that number next to what the Enclave became by 2023, and it almost reads like a different vehicle. That gap is the whole story of modern Buick in a single nameplate. Now here is where the data earns its credibility, because the same brand that produced every entry on that worst list also produced the results that put it at the top of J.D. Power's 2026 study. The Buick Enclave in its 2023 through 2026 model years is the single strongest argument for the brand's current reliability standing. The 2023 model year tracked at 79 out of 100, the best recorded year for the nameplate. The 2024 and 2025 versions held at 77 each. The 2026 model came in at 81 out of 100, with 0 recalls and 0 owner complaints on file at the time of this data pull. It earned a J.D. Power Segment Award. Put the 2026 Enclave's numbers next to the 2020 version's 68 and the 2026 redesign's transmission complaints, and the message is clear. Buy the 2023 through 2025 Enclave, which represents Buick's engineering at its current best before the redesign introduced new complexity. The Buick Envision, covering the 2019 through 2020 years and the current generation, is one of Consumer Reports' identified contributors to Buick's overall brand reliability ranking. Consumer Reports predicts it will outperform the average new car in reliability, and its consistency across model years gives it a stability that the Enclave's wider range of results does not always match. The Buick Encore GX earned an owner-reported J.D. Power Segment Award and is cited by Consumer Reports as one of the stronger performers holding Buick's brand score up. It sits in a competitive segment and holds its own against rivals, with significantly stronger brand recognition and marketing budgets behind them. For used shoppers specifically, the Buick Encore from 2017 through 2019 represents the sweet spot of that nameplate's production history. Those years are consistently identified as the most reliable of the Encore's run, with fewer maintenance issues and stronger overall performance than the problematic debut years that open this list. A 2017 or 2018 Encore bought used today carries very little of the risk that the 2013 and 2014 versions introduced. The Buick Regal GS from 2012 stands out as a dependable, well-built performance sedan from an era when Buick was still trying to find its modern identity and finding it in at least one model. With proper maintenance, the 2012 Regal GS has demonstrated the ability to reach 200,000 to 250,000 miles, which puts it in the conversation with the most long-lived vehicles in its segment. Identified as the reliability peak of that nameplate. Go back to worst number 4 and the 2010 LaCrosse's $3,900 transmission failures. Then look at what the same nameplate became 6 years later. Once Buick resolved the transmission and timing chain problems that defined the early version. That is not brand loyalty. That is engineering progress tracked through real data. And it is exactly the kind of progress that earned Buick its 2026 J.D. Power result. So here is what the data actually says about a brand most buyers have already ruled out. Buick's 2026 dependability ranking is not a marketing story. It is 2 consecutive years of J.D. Power measurements putting it ahead of Toyota, Honda, and every other household name in the mass market category. The rough years on the worst side of this list are real, and they are the reason the outdated stereotype exists. But they are history, not the current lineup. Every nameplate on this list proves the same thing this channel's data shows over and over again. The brand reputation is almost never the right variable to optimize for. The specific model and the specific year are. And if reliability is the deciding factor in your next purchase, Buick in 2026 deserves a place on a short list that most buyers never even think to build. If this breakdown gave you something useful, hit the like button so more buyers see it before they write Buick off on reputation alone. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the next video covers the brands that finished at the very bottom of the same study, and the gap between them and Buick is larger than most people expect. Drop a comment with whatever you are currently cross-shopping because there is a very good chance the numbers have a specific answer for you.